Alrighty, so the new set of Tower of Trials floors are here. We have floors 28, 29, and 30, and these are the very last floors. Today we're going to be looking at floor 28, which is the Red Tarmiel fight. I'm going to throw together a team really quickly and kind of explain why I'm using what I've used and sort of go over maybe some alternatives that you could use. But before we hop in, I do want to say, since these are the last couple of floors, these videos typically do pretty well because I do solo floors. I don't just lump them all together. So if the video helps you out at all, or you just want to stick around for the channel, find some other guides that are helpful or anything like that I put out, feel free to subscribe, because that would help me out a lot. But let me put together a team really quickly, and then we'll come right back. Alrighty, so this is what I think I'm going to be trying to use. I have already done one run, and I originally used Merlin as my main damage dealer, and I don't really think that worked out too well. The basic thought process behind this team, obviously you don't have to use this specifically, you can use a whole bunch of different stuff, but I'm going to tell you what each character is doing, so that way you can possibly come up with a substitute. Basically, I have a taunt on the team, so that way we can get all of our damage kind of directed to one person, so that way we can have our Tarmiel link on, and they can just obviously tank and heal back damage and everything. Matrona is really good for this if you've been playing the game for a while. I think they gave out a free copy of her at some point, and she's been on a couple of banners and stuff like that here and there. So here we go. You're using her first because she's going to heal a lot back. Then on the second slot here, we have Merlin. The only reason I'm bringing her is because she has an infect skill, and there aren't a whole lot of characters that actually have infect that are halfway decent. Like, I could technically use Echidna, but she's locked behind a collab, so that wouldn't be the greatest. I guess technically you could use this Ominous Nebula Zeldris, but he's a little bit more exclusive. I think technically he's considered to be a seasonal character. Rimuru would be a really good slot instead of Merlin, but because he's a collab character, I'm not using him. There's just a lot of characters that do have infects, but you need to get them to like a level 2 card to infect, and it's just Merlin's the easiest option. She was on like the free, there was like a free festival banner or whatever that I think all characters or all players have access to when they first start up their account. So if you have her, that will work out really nicely. You don't have to have an infect, but I think it is kind of helpful from time to time. The Freyr is absolutely optional. You can run a cleanser instead, or you can just run Green Melascula if you happen to have her. She's a little bit more of a seasonal character, and I know a lot of people might have Freyr now that he gets put on pretty much, not every single banner, but pretty frequently he gets put on a lot of banners. If you don't know, basically the only reason I'm using him is the fact that his passive and Green Melasculas, if you're using her, has a section where allies become immune to ignites. The big thing with this stage is that every time you attack with a character, that character is going to gain 2 ignite stacks on them, so running this completely negates that. Like I said, you can just run a cleanser instead if you really want to. That way you can taunt up. You can maybe use like a Margaret or any other cleanser character that you have. Just cleanse the debuffs off after each turn if possible, but with running Freyr, I think it'll just be a much better option because we won't have to worry about that mechanic at all. And then basically you're just going to want to run a big damage dealer. I tried to rely on Merlin last time to just do all of my damage, but it was taking absolutely forever, and at some point, all of the Tarmiel ultimates that I was having to tank ended up killing off Merlin, and then he ended up sort of, crumbling the team apart little by little, so it just didn't work out as good. Obviously, Escanor is pretty crazy. A lot of people did summon for him. I understand if you might not have him, you can just try to run a different damage dealer, maybe if you went for Purgatory Melee. I have seen people use the full Goddess team, so if you did go for the Goddesses with Mael, you can just run that team with Margaret to cleanse. There's a lot of different options that you can use here, of course, but this one's just kind of like an easy kind of option that sort of fits all of the things that this fight has to offer. Obviously, you can kind of see as well that another one of the gimmicks to this fight is that all 4 of the characters are on the field at the same time, so even though you're only using 3 cards per turn, I guess it kind of helps things in some ways that you have all of this utility on the field, but it can be kind of weird at the same time, you know what I mean? So either way, we did draw some extra Tarmiel or Escanor cards, which is really nice. You can see that the the Matrona is tanking quite well. I do have Holy Relics on some of these characters. I definitely don't think that they're necessary, especially because it's not going to help Matrona tank anymore. At least I don't think it does, if I'm not mistaken. giant allies' basic stats by 25%. I mean, I guess that's helping her tank a little bit, but even if they end up getting her down a little bit, her passive, if the lower HP she gets, the more she heals the entire team, basically, so that's going to help. I think because we didn't use a card with Merlin here, she actually gained an Infect, or a Dissolve stack, so that's kind of interesting. I didn't really pay attention to that last time that we were running the stage, but you do have to worry about, you know, Tarmiel healing back whenever you hit him. You do have to worry about not hitting him twice with the same character, of course, because then he's going to disable your character. So that might be another scenario where having a cleanse would be really helpful. Annoying that I didn't kill there, but honestly, the fight is just getting through a lot of HP. I don't think that it's really too difficult. You just need to, you know, bring a couple of things to kind of counter some of the mechanics. Nothing, you know, crazy difficult by any means, but yeah, just some small stuff that you can kind of work around here or there. But mostly, you know, like I said, it's just a lot of HP. So let me go ahead and try to kill off these two side units. From my understanding, I think the Infect only works if you kill this one on the left, because the last time that I ran this, I used an Infect on turn 1 and no one got infected. But I did use an Infect later on while only the right ally was alive, and I'm pretty sure the Infect still went off there. So there might be some weird mechanics to where like they gain passives depending on the allies that are on the field as well. So if you get rid of the left one, I think you can debuff him, but I don't know exactly which debuffs work. I know that he can't be like frozen or petrified or anything like that. He has a specific passive that it even tells you that doesn't work. So yeah, just be a little bit cautious with that, of course. But overall, you don't really have to worry about too much here. Just kind of drawing cards. You can push ultimates if you want to get it over with faster. Whatever works for you. Let me sort of work on some of this health bar really quick. Okay, so we're going to try to go for the Infect here really quickly into a kill on this side unit. And then we are going to draw Escanor's ultimate going into this next phase. So you can see he didn't get infected there. But I know for a fact that I did put an Infect on him at some point during the last one. And I'm pretty sure the right ally was still alive. I'm not 100% sure what, I guess, dictates the fact that he can be infected or not. So I guess watch out for that. But like I said, because they make all of this stuff so, you know, whatever, like it's so hidden, it can be a little bit tedious sometimes. Let me try to Infect again right here at the beginning and see if by some means that it's just the side units in general. So we put the Infect on. It does not activate. Maybe it's the fact that he has his buffs on. I'm not 100% sure on that, which I don't think he's gaining quite as much of his Tarmiel Link back. Like, he's not gaining as much HP back as he normally would, and like, because I think he would normally gain back about 50% of what he loses, but it seems like he's gaining back less than that, so either way, like I said, it's just going to take a little bit of, you know, whittling down. He does have his ultimate again, but luckily we're tanking pretty well, and we've been able to pull a couple of extra cards here, so I can just kind of throw out my extra Escanor and Cleave card from Freyr, and we should be pretty much in the clear. Okay, Escanor's doing a lot more damage with that attack for whatever reason. He gained back a little bit more HP on that one, of course, because we did a lot more. Not quite a kill, but maybe he just gains more HP back the lower his HP gets. Not 100% sure on that. Gains back some HP there as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a couple of weird ones. If you obviously find any sort of extra teams that work out really, really well for you, or you find out, you know, specifically like, hey, this is how this mechanic is working during this fight, whatever the case may be, if you end up finding any extra information on it while you're fighting it, feel free to leave a comment down below, so that way it'll help somebody out in the future, because obviously these videos kind of, I don't want to say they are future-proofed or anything like that, but a lot of people come back to these videos, you know, as they reach these floors and stuff like that, I guess up until this game mode ends up getting removed. But that's basically how I'm beating the floor. Nothing too crazy. Obviously there's some things that you can swap out here if you need to, if you don't have certain options or whatever the case may be, but that is pretty much it from me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you're watching this as of the time it comes out, I'll have the floor 29 guide out shortly, and if you're watching this later on, it should already be out. So go check that out if you need it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.